Hello, gorgeous souls, and welcome back to the Mind, Body, Soul experiment. I'm Kylie Null. I am a business life and healing mentor, as well as a trauma-informed energy healer. And welcome to day 11 of this 111-day quest. I transparently, for the past 4 days, have not been able to get myself to record a YouTube, to post on my 111-day journey, because I was like, I'm gonna say transparently again, but I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be a transparent episode, and one that I think is going to shift a lot for many of you, because this is like the real and the raw humanness that happens behind going after our big dreams and actually going after the things we desire in life. And yeah, I just couldn't bring myself to record an episode last week. I felt all sorts of things. It was basically almost 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks into the 111-day challenge. We're now officially on week 3, and I could just feel last week all the feels were coming up. I was slipping into old patterns. I was procrastinating. I was just feeling absolutely low. Like, it literally felt like everything that I've laid foundations for within week 1, and all that drive and motivation and fuck yeah energy had just dripped out of me. And I was just sitting there last week and I was like, man, this is not cool. What is happening here? And I feel like this was so divinely meant to happen for a reason. I was like, well, of course this resistance happens in week 2, because if we look at the numerology of 2, it's all about the choices you make, what decisions are you making. And I feel like the universe had a very hard way of showing me what is the other reality I can choose, what is the vibration I can choose if I don't want to fully commit to this journey, and if I don't fully show up to this journey. And it was super confronting last week to really sit and recognize, holy shit, look at you, you're not showing up in this full capacity. Why aren't you doing this? And to feel so creatively untapped. I kid you not, my loves, I was like, I don't even know what to say. And this was going across on all platforms. This was not just me feeling blocked for YouTube. I was feeling blocked for all my content. Things just weren't coming through. It was taking me forever to write a caption, forever to get my thoughts together. I was like, what is happening? And there were 2 things that came through. One was can you just allow yourself this period and just allow yourself to actually sit in it? Because sitting in it is showing you exactly what you don't want. Sitting in it is making it super hard. Sitting in it is actually now forcing you to take a really hands down, face fronting recognition of holy damn, this is what I'm choosing. This is the energy I'm making myself available for. This is the reality I'm making myself available for, and I don't like this. I don't want to be here. And it was such a stark difference from my intention for this 111-day journey. It was such a stark difference from the energy that I want to embody, the woman I want to become. It was literally bringing a hot knife, stabbing it somewhere within me and slowly turning it. And I could just feel this excruciating pain, and yet something was you've got to sit in this. And so through sitting with this, on Friday I had a divine session with my energy healer, and we were speaking about the sacred masculine and feminine. And within that space, it's so amazing how these things are all interlinked. I approached her and I was like, look, I really want to work on something that I can feel I need to heal from, that's been persistent for about the past 7 years. And as we started speaking through that event, she was like, well, you're not actively actually manifesting anything different. Yes, sure, this event happened way back when in 2016, but what active energy are you putting into this manifestation of wanting something different than what happened in that event? So for example, if we are let's say we have a history of traumatic relationships, and you're okay, well, I'm healing from my relationships. I want to attract a partner that's loving, that's kind, that treats me with unconditional respect, all these things. but yet you're just like, you don't really tend to it. You don't really sit and think about, what's the type of partner that I attract? Ooh, am I actually being that woman that will like attract that partner? What is the energy I'm putting out there? What are actually my beliefs around like relationships? Like all these things that we need to like actively manifest with. It's just like, you're not actively doing anything to manifest something different for yourself. You've just kind of taken it as is. You've dealt with like the trauma response of it, so I don't get as triggered anymore, but you're not actively putting in the work to manifest something different. And the moment she said that, it was such a strong realization that came up for me, where I was like, fuck, like, how often do we go through traumatic experiences? Whether these traumatic experiences are reaching great success in the past and then feeling like we've come to a jolted stop, whether that's a transition you've had to do in business, whether you've made you've made lots of money, and maybe you went through a transition and you don't have all that money anymore, or you've quote unquote lost it, or there was a period when you were in like a really like beautiful relationship and suddenly it turned dark. Like there were things that just shifted. And where have we then taken that trauma and actually made it mean something in terms of your own ability to manifest something for yourself, your own ability to create something different for yourself? And so from these traumatic events, the residue that then starts to sit with us is procrastination, is self-sabotage, because we actually don't fully trust ourselves and trust our divine masculine energy to be able to be like, this may have happened in the past. This experience may have happened in the past. Maybe you pushed yourself too far and you reached burnout. Maybe you went through a very like traumatic experience, and now the thought of trying to like actively work in that area to create some experience better for yourself feels really taxating. And it's kind of a case of like, I've been doing this for so many years. What's going to make it any different now? Like, I can keep bringing up these examples and narratives to really anchor it in for you, but I want you to think about like, where have you had great wins in your past, and where have they been followed by great losses and lessons learned? And from those losses and lessons learned, have you actually taken the time to integrate that and to be like, okay, I see this. I see where I may have had like as I think of them as pitfalls. I see where I may have had like a challenge in the past. I see where there was a divine lesson for me to learn. I see this life experience happened, but have I allowed this experience to tap me into fear? Have I allowed this experience to create conditions around what's available for me? And through these conditions, I'm not allowing myself to actually fully step into my conscious creatrix energy. Ooh. That just downloaded. A conscious creatrix energy. Yes, I love that. Conscious creatrix energy. I feel like that's such like a potent, powerful feminine energy to be in, right? Like our conscious creatrix energy. And so having this realization and bringing that through, this conscious creatrix energy just like pinged in, like kind of digressed me from that train of thought. But having this realization drop in of like, where have we allowed past experiences to take us away from our life force energy or stop us from divinely tapping into our divine masculine, especially as women? Like, there are so many narratives around being an ambitious and strong woman and actually being tapped into your divine masculine energy. And these narratives can sometimes be like, oh, look at her, she's trying to hustle like a man. Or you have to fulfill like this boss CEO, like boss bitch type of energy. Or you find that you have to do it in a certain setting, like, oh yeah, say that, but don't say it too loud, or don't be too aggressive about it, or don't be too blunt, you have to sugarcoat it. Like, there's always these conditions to what should it look like for us as women to step into a healthy masculine state. And very much so, we also don't have healthy representations. A very few of us do have healthy representations of a healthy masculine state. Whether that is from the family we came from, like what we were able to observe from like our father, and even within our mothers, like if they had that healthy masculine and feminine balance. Also, just really recognizing that there has been this underlying narrative that women constantly need to compete with the way men work, with the way the world operates, because it's such a man's world. So we've set up and created a society so many conditions and narratives of this top-down hierarchy that's pulled women even further away from their sacred masculine energy. And so when we actually bring these together and we realize how being so so far off, I'd probably say, like, how far off we've become from our sacred masculine energy and our divine ability to just have that life force energy, it makes sense that we self-sabotage and procrastinate. It makes sense that we struggle to find that healthy connection between how can I be ambitious, but also have this divine feminine power to me, but also allow myself to be intuitive, but and also not sell my soul to do the work that I'm meant to do. Whether that's your life's work through entrepreneurship, through being in a corporate position, through whatever it is. And so having these realizations drop in last week, I really sat with like, why is this procrastination coming up for me, and why is the self-sabotage coming up for me? And the first thing that came through was like, well, there's fear. There's fear of trusting the masculine again. And this masculine is the masculine that's within us, trusting ourselves that we can hold space and drive like our goals moving forward, that we can hold space and like actually drive our dreams moving forward. There may be a fear that like history repeats itself, and that's where you need to check in with yourself and be like, hey, like I'm not that person anymore. I'm not available for those experiences. Like I realized how last week I was self-sabotaging so insanely in my exercise and like eating habits that, yes, I was also on my bleed, like TMI, but nothing's TMI on this channel. But there was this sense of just, I could feel on the latter end of the week, like the self-sabotage was kicking in because I could feel this physical tiredness. And coming from a space of being so severely burnt out a few years ago and having that burnout be so strongly correlated to a time of my life when I was so depressed and suicidal, like no wonder feeling tired and feeling like I'm being tapped out of my resources and I have to like work on reserves, if that makes sense, even though I'm not at reserves yet. No wonder that feeling ignites so much fear within my body, because my being's like, we don't want to go back there. Like, we don't want to experience depression again. Like, we don't want to experience anxiety again. We don't want to be suicidal again. Like, I don't want to take you back there. So obviously it then manifests as doubt. It manifests as like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. It manifests as like, it's okay. Like, it doesn't matter really right now. Like, it's okay. It manifests as this fake like self-soothing that we give ourselves. Self-soothing. There we go. Soothing. I don't know what I said there. Self-soothing. That was soothing. I did it again. Self-soothing that we give ourselves because we want to make ourselves feel better for actually, very evidently enough, not honoring and respecting our dreams. And so I realized that, ooh, like I need to trust my body. I need to trust my physical vessel. I need to trust that my energy has changed. I need to trust that the work that I've been doing is sacred, that I've been laying the foundations. I need to trust my masculine again. So if you think of a period in your life where you're self-sabotaging and procrastinating, like where are you not trusting your sacred masculine power? We always speak about like trust yourself, right? It's like trust yourself that you can manifest your big dreams. But if we really had to go a layer deeper into that self-trust, it would really speak to trust your sacred masculine. Trust that you can do the thing, show up to the thing, and be successful at it. Trust that you can hold space. And this even came through from like, if you think of really trusting yourself, there's a nugget I wanted to drop in with like big dreams. Okay, wait, it's gonna come back to me. ADHD brain. If you really start to anchor into trust, how worthy do you then believe you are? How worthy do you really believe you are? in achieving your big dreams. So if we really had to like sit with this at its core and we're like, okay, how worthy do I feel like I am to achieve my big dreams? Like, do I actually feel like I deserve this? And what's funny is when we procrastinate, when we self-sabotage, we turn down the dial of our deservingness. We turn down the dial of our worthiness, because that self-sabotage and that procrastination suddenly comes along with guilt. It comes along with guilt, and then we've stopped the momentum, so we're no longer getting the feedback, whether it's feeling better in our own bodies, whether it's, you know, seeing your social media do well, whether it's feeling emotionally like coherent, whatever like that end result is. Like suddenly we don't get that feedback because we've stopped actually putting that intention into the space and the preparation that we need to be able to achieve the big dream that we're after. And so suddenly this guilt from not showing up becomes riddled with doubt. And you're like, but oh, is this even meant for me? Is this even a space I should tap into? Like, is this meant for me? Is this the right place? Because you know what, it's not happening. So it's probably not meant for me. And then we start to compare ourselves because we're trying to look for feedback from the external world to be like, okay, if I'm experiencing this, let me validate that this isn't just for me. Or what we'll do is, it's strange how our minds work. I find it so fascinating. Is we'll then step into a state of comparison and suddenly put other people on a pedestal, because it creates a sense of separation within us that, oh, they know how to do this, or this is their reality, or you know what, like they can do this is not meant for me, or you know, you see, like again, like I didn't do this, like I'm just not good at that. Like we will rather create a sense of separation so that we can actually just try and bypass the crux of the matter of like, you stopped showing up for you. You stopped showing up for you. You stopped showing up for you. What goals, big dreams in life have you gone after and then suddenly just halted because you stopped showing up for you? You suddenly started feeling self-conscious, or started feeling shame, or started feeling like not deserving anymore because you made the story about other people. You started comparing yourself, or you were just like, well, you know what? Like, I didn't feel like this today, so I'm just gonna let it slide. Why are you not honoring you? Why are you not showing up for you? And so these are thoughts that I really sat with over the past 4 days, and even more deeply so sat with over the weekend, because I was like, fuck. Like, you're turning 30 next year, babe. Like, do this for you. Like, really do this for you. And so coming through with that, like when we also look at like our quotes for overcoming sabotage and procrastination, falling on my words, and really coming to the fact of like, am I doing this for me? And like, how can I do this even more so for me? The third quote that I really want you to sink into, because when I wrote about this, like I need to show this to you. So I'm really diving into the inner work. I'm like, this is my life's work. This is my life's mission. Like, I am not going to like back down or hold myself back anymore. Like, it is fucking time. So I literally was like, okay, we're gonna start writing. So this was the weekend. I like journaled my little like soul out. Here we go. Oops, I actually put up my own music there. Like, look at this. I like journaled my little heart out. I was like, we need to get through this. Like, we have to just like move through this space. And literally the question I asked myself that led to all these breakthroughs, led to like holy shit realizations, which led to deeper breakthroughs, which was like, I can't wait to record again on Monday, and here I am. And I'm like, I'm so excited to be here. Is what trauma, I wrote this down, what trauma wounds are you repeating from the past? And whatever space your big dream is in right now, whether you're like, I'm doing this for like my relationship with money, or I'm doing this so that I can, you know, maybe your big dream is that you're going through a big like physical transformation. Maybe your big dream is like a business dream, like whatever dimension this dream is in. If you find yourself self-sabotaging and procrastinating on like actually showing up and bringing that intention to the space for this dream, what trauma patterns do you keep repeating? And I realized one of the things that are coming to mind now to share, because it's going to be really tangible, is I realized how I was continuously repeating this pattern of like not enoughness. But this deep trauma pattern of not enoughness from like my wounded, bullied inner child state, of feeling like nothing that I did was ever enough, whether it was in school, whether it was to get attention in the home space. Like there was this feeling of like just not enoughness, and that, you know what, it's meant for everyone else except for me. And that's a narrative I picked up as I would actually say like a self-soothing narrative. Because I remember there was a stage when we had our final year of like inter-school athletics. We were like literally in our final years, and they were busy auditioning for like almost like the cheerleading, if I can call it such, like cheerleading squad vibes. And I loved it, and I loved feeling of the energy. And it was so strange to be like this cheerleading person, because I was such an introvert in like, you know, the school space. People didn't know me to be so confident and outspoken, but yet I loved to feed off the energy of the crowd, and I was really good at directing them, and I had so much fun. And when they came down to voting and choosing like the final people to be there, someone else got chosen over me. And that really enforced the narrative. It's so interesting, because I'll never forget that feeling, like that heart dropping. I felt shame within myself because I'd given so much to this space and I hadn't been accepted. I created a self-soothing narrative of, oh, it's okay, it's meant for everyone else except for me, especially if it comes to something where I'm going to be a part of a social circle and being accepted into a space, which is everything that we do. So especially if I look at like online, social media, my work, like somehow that narrative like clicked into gear somewhere and created like this imprint of like, ooh, it's meant for everyone else to experience the success and actually experience the dreams and the goals and desires you have for yourself. But when it comes down to the crux of it, people will always choose someone else except for you. And so their dreams always come true except for yours. Holy shit, it's like... And realizing that I was still carrying that belief with me, and I was actually creating and manifesting experiences for myself that would reinforce this belief. And one of the ways I was manifesting these experiences was through self-sabotage and procrastination. The moment I would see momentum start to happen in something, I'll be like, oh no, why would you do that? Like, why create all this momentum? At the end of the day, like, it's just not going to be for you. Like, you're not going to get it. It's going to be given to someone else. Like, it's not meant for you. Like, cancel, clear, delete that shit. Cancel, clear, delete. And so really being able to work through those and like have that, and there were so many others that came to the surface that I was like, holy moly, I can't believe you guys were just lingering. But having these things come to the surface just made me realize again why there's such a need for this work, for the mind, body, soul experience. Because we are such divinely interconnected, intrinsic and intricate beings. Like, who would have thought that procrastinating on recording day 11, recording it 4 days late, procrastinating, finding self-sabotage patterns kick into this mind, body, soul experiment would lead to some of the biggest breakthroughs of trusting the divine masculine, but and also overcoming patterns of self-sabotage and procrastination. Like, holy moly. Like, wow. So I really hope this serves you so well, my love, and that this gives you the insights as well as the shifts that you may need to now make, and things to like bring to your awareness where you may have realized like, wow, I'm holding myself back here. And really looking into what is the fear that's coming up? Where can you deepen more of your trust? And especially not just trust within yourself to make decisions, like trust in your intuition, because that's like more of the heart-led energy, right? That's more of the like intuitive heart-led energy that we're going into. But it's actually more of a trust in like your divine sacred masculine. that you can show up, hold space for yourself to show up and absolutely fucking smash it. And through that action that you take, be able to manifest whatever it is you desire. And then through that, looking at like, okay, but what trauma patterns do I keep repeating in the present moment? I keep re-manifesting for myself because they feel familiar. They feel safe. So my loves, this was so beautiful. I feel like this was like, kind of feel like I was channeling and like speaking to you guys, but I'm like literally like, this is like a divine channel for me too. So it was so beautiful. But my loves, I cannot wait to see you for day 12. It's gonna be really magical. And with that, I shall see you soon. Bye for now.